used to try real hard. I used to do too much. And even to the point that, when you're texting back and forth with somebody and you're thinking, which emoji should I use? How do I make it seem like I'm friendly? I stopped trying to get people to like me and accepted that people who F with me, and the people who don't, they just don't. And my behavior is not going to change that much. Me trying is fake because Hi y'all, how you doing? I am well, and I'm on here today to share the lessons that I learned from 2023 and an effort to share anything that might help you as we start off this new year of 2024. First off, I want to congratulate you for making it, because I know for me, 2023 was quite harrowing. I was in cancer treatment, cancer-free now. But even if you didn't have a rough last year, I'm hoping that one of these lessons might help you. I attempted to film this by giving an explanation for each one and realized that we would be here all day if I did that. So what I'm going to do is just read from my journal. And if I feel like expounding on one, I will. Forgiveness can release illness. Struggles are a chapter in the textbook of my life. Learn what I need to learn so I don't have to repeat the lesson. You can only control the controllable. Shout out to my big brother Tokes who told me this one. For me as a control freak, there's so many times I've tried to control the actions of others, and it's nearly impossible. So now I focus on what it is that I can control. And for real, the only thing I can control is myself. So that is what I focus on now. I can control me, and that's my focus. I can control what I take in, physically with the foods that I eat, the media that I take in. I could control the words that I say. I could control the amount of rest I get. I can't control someone else's attitude. I can't control the weather. I can't control a whole rack of things. So I just focus on what I can control. Limit the expectations I have on people, especially the expectations that are unspoken. One of the most important lessons I learned is that I can still feel joy in the midst of suffering. When I tell you last year was the hardest year that I've ever had dealing with breast cancer, but it was also the happiest year I've had. It's so strange. The smile that you see, how bright I'm smiling right now, is how I was on most days last year. And it's because I was able to separate a temporary situation from what's going on internally. So I could look at it as, okay, I'm suffering physically, through chemotherapy and radiation and surgery that I had. But just because my body is unhappy doesn't mean that I have to be unhappy. My joy comes because I trust God. I have a relationship with God. My joy comes because I have family around me. I'm surrounded by love. I just live a life that's abundant. So even if I'm suffering physically, doesn't mean that I can't feel joy. I don't have to stay in harmful conversations. I have a right to end them. I can't give anyone or anything more than I have for myself. I feel like that one is self-explanatory. If you don't have the energy to even take care of your own personal hygiene, you have no business doing a favor for somebody else. If you are sleep deprived, you can't give somebody more than what you are able to give yourself. So think about, how much do I give myself? Is that enough? And you can figure out if you're in a position to actually help others. And that might be a temporary situation, but people talk about self-care a lot, and self-care is not vacations and bubble baths. Self-care is really just addressing your needs. And a lot of us go with our needs unaddressed because we're so focused on giving. And 2024, y'all, just think about, what is it that I need to give myself, and do that thing first before you think about others. I mean, outside of your children, we got to give our children more, but it's so important that we give ourselves first. It's that concept of pay yourself first. If you've ever heard of that financially, that, if you're trying to spend the money that you earn, it's best to put some money in your savings before you just start spending everywhere else. And it's a similar concept. Pay yourself first. I don't need to interpret different opinions as a personal attack on me. Wearing foundation daily was ruining my skin. I'm foundation free, y'all. Look. Look how smooth it is now. All right, back to the list. The words we say can change our reality. This is manifestation, y'all. So one of the things that I said often, and that I always say now, when people ask me how I'm doing, I say I am well. Even if I'm sad, even if I'm having a jacked up day, I am still well. And the reason I say that, even if I don't feel well, saying that, putting that energy out into the universe makes that a reality. I constantly say mantras, and my typical mantra that I say is I am well, I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm protected. And I'll repeat them and repeat them until they register in my body. And you'd be surprised at how much that becomes your reality just from the words that you say. And alternately, if you're somebody who's always saying, I'm broke, guess what you're going to be? So think about what it is that you want your reality to be and make sure that your words match that reality. Trauma could live in our bodies for decades. Sometimes we go through things and we don't realize that we are still traumatized and it's still in our body. And I learned that through starting to practice Kundalini yoga. Kundalini yoga has really exposed that there are certain things that I was holding in my body from over 10 years ago that are finally getting released. So even if you're not into yoga, find some sort of way to physically move things out of your body. People leaving because they don't F with you leaves room for the people who do. Never give unsolicited advice. Next one is silence is golden. As you can tell by now, I'm someone who enjoys talking. I've learned to talk less and listen more, and that I don't have to respond to everything. And also, when you are quiet and you let other people talk, sometimes people tell on themselves, and you learn and pick up on things that you would have ignored if you just kept running your mouth. People who spew nastiness toward others don't think much of themselves. Evaluate relationships based on the present. I'm someone who loves nostalgia, and I've gotten burned quite a few times because I've evaluated my relationship with someone who's in front of me based off of a memory from 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we were in college and we were friends. It's been more than 10 years since I've been in college, but it's an example. But, 10 years ago, we were this way and I'm seeing them now. And I used to assume we were in the same place, and that is just not so, y'all. So evaluate someone's actions on how they're acting now, not how they acted back then. Don't listen to anyone else's voice for too long. It makes it harder to think for yourself. Reciting mantras and scriptures in the mirror, in the shower, or in the car can be miraculous. I deserve the best I can afford. So I'm somebody who likes nice clothes, and I like to buy nice fabrics for myself. I try to avoid buying polyester, rayon, or synthetic fabrics, right? But if I have that much attention to what I put on my body clothes-wise, then I deserve the best healthcare I can afford. I deserve the best food I can afford. The stuff that actually impacts our health is also some of the best that we can afford. And it's not about flossing or, stunting on people. Give yourself the best that you can get. Sharing my stories betters the lives of others. I've been able to inspire people from all over the world with my story, sharing my story about breast cancer. And I had no idea that being open in that way would impact others in such a beautiful way and in turn give more to me. Next one, stop trying so hard. I used to try real hard. I used to do too much. And even to the point that, when you're texting back and forth with somebody and you're thinking, which emoji should I use? Or just mulling over your head about, how do I make it seem like I'm friendly or such and such. I just stopped trying so hard. I do the basic effort. I don't give more effort than what's necessary for most situations. I stopped trying to get people to like me and accepted that people who F with me, and the people who don't, they just don't. And my behavior is not going to change that much. Me trying is fake because eventually I'm going to feel like stop trying and they're going to see the real me anyway. So now I just keep it relaxed. This one is for the content creators. Don't prioritize anyone's content over my own. I have YouTube nervousness. I'm still relatively new. I've been doing YouTube for a couple of years on and off. And one of the things I noticed myself doing when I felt a lot of fear about making content was just binging other people's content. Spending hours at a time, doing stuff around the house, but I just have YouTube playing in the background. And now it's like, if I could spend 3 hours listening to other people talk, what about my stuff? So now if I find myself in that loop of just on social media for too long, I think about, what about my content? Let me cut this off so I can plan on what I need to do for myself. And it's helped a lot. Next one, perfectionism is glorified procrastination. A lot of perfectionists think that, well, I just want it to be really great, and that's why it's taken me so long, when really perfectionism is a way to keep delaying getting what you need to get done. It's glorified procrastination because most perfectionists don't get things done on time because they're so concerned with getting everything right. I heard a quote from Brene Brown. I was listening to the audiobook. This is one of my favorite books, y'all, The Power of Vulnerability. And she said that, major CEOs of multi-billion-dollar businesses don't sit on emails for days. They don't spend all this time composing the perfect response to an email because they don't have time for that. And it's like, okay, the perfectionist wants to have the perfect greeting and use the perfect words, but sometimes you just need to get it done. And it's okay to get it done in a way that's mediocre. Figure out which things are important to spend your energy on and just do that. It's helped a lot, y'all. The qualities I loathe in others, I possess. This one was a hard one, y'all, because like how you look at somebody, or you might go to school with someone or work with them, and it's just the person who gets on your nerves. People are mirrors, y'all. So sometimes the things that we see in others that we don't like, the shadow part of ourselves or the side of ourselves that's like not our good side, also has that same quality. I'll give you an example. I, in the past, worked with somebody who just always rubbed me the wrong way because I felt like they were attention seeking and just in need of validation all the time. And I had to take a look in the mirror and be like, oh, that's me. I'm a theater performer. Of course, I love attention. And I'm somebody who really relied on external validation. So I'm looking at this person saying, why can't they just do X, Y, Z, when really the inside of me also struggled with that same thing. The people in our lives are mirrors to us. They show us the qualities in ourselves that we might want to change or that we don't care for. I mean, outside of like if somebody's like an axe murderer, I'm not talking about that. But, just like the personality traits that annoy us, the things that are annoyances, sometimes it's because we recognize them. Minding my business brings peace to my life. That one is self-explanatory, y'all. There's so much peace in minding your damn business. I can't even tell you. I don't get caught up in conversations I don't need to be in. I don't get tasked with things that I had no interest in being tasked with. I don't misspeak or put my foot in my mouth as much anymore because I just mind my business. Next one, I am valuable not because of what I do, but for who I am. Before I really knew myself, I used to define myself by my profession and the people who I'm connected to. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm this person's sister, I'm that person's colleague, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, as opposed to I'm a sensitive soul. I can be really silly at times. I love helping people. I am thrilled by nature and can stare at birds for hours. I am creative and curious and I love to read. Like all those things, the specific things that if you were writing a book and you had to describe a character that you were writing, you'd be able to define. You wouldn't just say they're a lawyer. That's not enough information. So now I look at myself the same way. God sends angels to answer my prayers. There's so many times, especially when I was dealing with cancer and chemotherapy, where random people would just be there to help me. And it was probably always happening, but I just opened my eyes and started paying attention to it, that, wow, where did that person come from? Or, like when you're just having a terrible day and somebody will say the right thing, like a cashier at the grocery store, that just makes you feel like, okay, I could keep going. Once I started paying attention to more of what's happening in front of me, I started noticing those miracles more. Gratitude as a practice increases happiness. Those are all the things that I learned last year that I'm going to carry with me into this year. Last year was miraculous for me. I beat breast cancer. I found community in a way that was so meaningful. I reconnected to God. I actually started living out the meaning of my name. So Farah is short for Farah, which in Arabic means joy and exotic beauty. And I became an embodiment of joy and light. For the first time, I used to describe myself as someone who's melancholy. And I get melancholy, don't get me wrong, but that is not my aura anymore. I am really proud of myself for all of the things that I achieved, and I know that this year will just be even greater. I feel it, y'all. I feel it. And I am looking at my theme for this year as restoration. And the action that I'm taking this year is do it now. Shout out to another creator, the Queen Poe, who shared in one of her videos that her theme for 2023 was do it now. When you think of something that you want to do, just do it. And that's why I'm on here right now, free of makeup, after my yoga class before bedtime, because I felt like making this video, so why not? I am releasing a lot of the perfectionism that I carried before that kept me from making content because it just no longer serves me. I'm releasing my need for external feedback and running my ideas past a whole bunch of people before taking action. I'm releasing self-doubt and just going for it. And I'm releasing the reliance on people's words of affirmation. If I feel right and I feel good about what it is that I'm doing, then that's what matters. I am listening to my intuition because I know that my intuition is God speaking to me and just letting that guide me. And I just pray that one of the lessons that I shared helps guide you and carry you through 2024. Happy New Year, y'all, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.